Hi guys, it's Jessica here with my creamy skin tone tips and tricks tutorial. Hopefully this helps some of you out with trying to achieve that creamy skin tone that we all love to have. I want to start off with a little bit of information on the gear that I shoot with and my shooting style. I shoot on a Canon 5D Mark III with my favorite 50mm 1.2 prime lens. And usually with a single subject, I like to shoot pretty close to wide open. So for this particular session here of Nicole, I shot at a f-stop of a 2.0. On top of that, I shoot all of my sessions in Kelvin temperature. I don't shoot my sessions on auto white balance anymore or use an expo disc just because I feel like an expo disc is more cumbersome than it's worth. When I shoot in my Kelvin white balance, I tend to aim for a little bit more on the warm to neutral side versus the cooler side, because in my experience and in my editing, when the photos are taken in more of a warmer image, I can dial down the temperature and the skin tone will still look great. Whereas if I were to shoot the session in the cooler tones and then I add temperature in Lightroom, I always find that it makes the whole image too orange and it doesn't give me the creamy skin tones that I'm looking for. So in this particular photo session, I shot this particular image at a 6,550 degree in Kelvin temperature. So let's go ahead and do some editing. Oh, before that, I wanted to show you guys the before and after. So this is the straight out of camera unedited image, and then this is what we are going to try to end up with. All right, so I'm going to use the Fuji Pro 400H neutral and do the highlights soft. And then I'm going to bring down the temperature just a little bit, because like I said before, I want to shoot warm but bring it down and adjust it to my taste. That looks good right there. And because my style is a lot more bright and airy, I am going to bump up the exposure here. The highlights, I'm going to bring down the highlights just bring up the highlights just a little bit right here. Perfect. Shadows, I'm going to also bring the shadows up. That looks good right there. The whites, I'm going to leave it as it is, and then the black clipping, I'm going to bring that. And I'm looking at her hair right here while I'm adjusting the black clipping. That looks good right about there. Now when I posted this survey in the Masson Labs group, the number one takeaway that I want you guys to take from this is this HSL luminance editing box in here. So after all of my edits, if you don't take away anything else, this is what I do to achieve the creamy skin tones in my photos. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the orange luminance slider. Now use this sparingly, because depending on how dark or light your subject's skin tone is, you might want to bring the orange slider up a little bit more or a little bit less, just depending. So I'm going to bring this up to about 13. That looks good. And then I sometimes use the red luminance slider as well in conjunction with the orange, because here in Arizona, you know, in the heat and in the summertime, a lot of my clients get red faces because they've been in the heat for so long. So that's when I would use the red luminance slider to kind of take out the redness in their faces and in their skin tone. All right. I'm going to also do just a little bit of split toning here under the highlights portion. So I'm going to bring this highlight to about there, and then the saturation, I'm just going to eyeball the saturation. Usually I don't like to go much higher than a plus 10, so I'm just going to eyeball it here. So you can see the without the saturation and the highlights and the split toning, this whole photo is kind of on the cool side. So I want to bring back a little bit more warmth in her skin tone. I'm going to exaggerate this just a little bit so you can kind of see. So with a saturation of 30, this whole photo is really warm. So what I'm going to do is bring it down to a 10, but that 10 is still pretty warm and that 5 is not warm enough. So I'm going to go between and do an 8. Yes, that looks good right there to me. So that is pretty much what I do when I'm trying to get the skin tones. It's mainly the red and orange luminance sliders. I don't do the split toning a whole lot, just because this is really hit or miss for me. But here in this single image of Nicole, it really works. But a lot of times the split toning doesn't really work for me. So what I really want you guys to take away is the main editing portion of the creamy skin tones is in the red and the orange luminance sliders here. Now, if you've watched my one other tutorial before, you'll notice that I also, another addition to the red and the orange luminance slider is that I batch process all of my images in Photoshop through a plugin called Portraiture. And if you have never heard of Portraiture, please check it out. It is a godsend. Portraiture is a skin smoothing plugin. And once I've edited all of my photos in Lightroom and exported it out, I run a batch editing process, and I've created an action for that runs all of my images through this filter, and you just end up with the smoothest, creamiest skin tones you can ever have. So this is what Portraiture looks like, and it's loading right down here, 20, 40, and I want to wait for it to load to show you guys like the before and after difference. So we've got the color consistency of the creamy skin tone in Photoshop, in Lightroom. Now what we're going to do is get the smooth skin that every bride or every couple, every client wants to have. So this is without Portraiture. This is with Portraiture. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so that you can kind of see. So with Portraiture, without, without. And over here, I tried not to go above the normal smoothing preset. I never used the medium high, or even I've never even used the enhance, because I don't want my clients skin to look fake or like a Barbie doll. I want them to look natural as beautiful, as naturally as possible. Excuse me, I'm a little bit nervous here. So that's the Portraiture plugin right there. I'm going to apply that and show you guys what that looks like in the final product. Sorry, I'm very nervous talking to you guys. Can you tell? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this into my desktop and then show you the final image. All right. So here is the final edited image. Obviously, I would fix her hair right here because it was a very windy day and we had some hair in the wind issues. But now you can see her skin is super smooth and super creamy, and that's ultimately what I want. I'm gonna go back to Lightroom and show you guys again a before and after. So this is before and after without Portraiture, so keep that in mind. So here's the straight out of camera unedited photo, still a very beautiful image. And then here's the edited creamy skin tones here, and this is before Portraiture. And then here it is with Portraiture and the creamy skin tones. All right, I hope you guys learned a little bit from this, and I hope that it helps you in your editing process. Please let me know if you guys like this tutorial, and I would love to hear your feedback. In the meantime, have a great day. Bye, guys.